Hello everyone and welcome to another StarCraft 2 video. For this one we're continuing our gauntlet series of these bots, and we've gotten down to the final three, right? So last we saw the Golden Armada had defeated Blinkerbot, I believe it was, and we'll be moving on today to face Benbot BC in the first match. The winner of that match will go on to face TRP, which is Tier's top bot, his Protoss bot. And that is where this series will end, because then it's going to kind of combine into the official ProBots AI Arena showcase, which was also Gauntlet tournaments for the top 8 bots, where we see all these heavy lifters. So what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to find out the winner between Golden Armada, Benbot BC, and TRP, and then whoever wins this, I'm going to put them up against the winner of the official showcase of the top 8 bots. So I think in terms of viewing order, what you'll probably want to do is watch that series first and then come back here to avoid the spoilers, because obviously this last match I'm going to be showing you the winner of the official tournament, and the official tournament's a much more professionally done cast anyways. I think you'll enjoy that a lot. So yeah, just check out the top link in the description, or look up top. I'll put a card right now. To check out the ProBots, and then you can come back here and watch the end of this. Yeah. So without much ado, I guess we should go into it. So Golden Armada was on a bit of a streak, and now he's facing Benbot BC. So Benbot BC is another bot by Blazier. We've seen another bot called Benbot. This bot is similar, another Terran that does like bio BCs, but much more based on the BC rush, like trying to really jump BCs into your opponent's face and see what you can get done with it. But a macro focus behind it. It's not like a one base all in. So he does have a bit of a bio here. Achievements, ProBots 2020 Season 3 Finals, 3rd place. I did not expect that at all. Yeah, he was a big surprise in that tournament. He, I think he was seeded like 15th or 16th of like these 16 bots in the tournament. So he was right near the bottom, but went on a streak of just upsetting everyone. Just powered through the winner's bracket, made it to the final 3, and honestly got unlucky, because I think in the final 3, he probably should have won. He was up against, I guess this is a bit of spoilers. If you want to check that out on ES Champs, the same channel that has the Gauntlet series, there will be the if you look in the past VODs, that they have this ProBots Season 3 you can check out. But anyways, the final 3 bots were Benbot, myself, and Spiny. And since I did not expect to go against Benbot, I didn't really look to see what he's up to. And he had this Bunker Contain, which was just trashing me on the ladder. And for some reason, my bot just figured it out in these pro matches. But I think if you ran it 100 times, I lose like 90 out of 100. So I got lucky to beat him. And the other bot in the top 3 was Spiny. And Benbot had already beaten Spiny. So not only were there no bot updates since then, which makes it likely he would beat him again, but we were also playing with extended series, which means he would even start with an advantage versus Spiny. So, yeah, I really thought he would take out both of us and be the champion. As it turns out, we both got a little bit lucky. I was able to defeat that Bunker Contain a couple times, or I beat it once by luck, and then the other time it kind of bugged out and didn't work for him. And then Spiny had a reverse all kill, which was pretty amazing. What else to read here? This bot's main focus is to build a lot of battle cruisers. Everything is created from scratch using Java. I just started saving game results and using this info to decide which build order to use. Oh, that's interesting, but it's still a work in progress. Okay, so he's going to be a little bit less one-dimensional with the builds, I guess. Yeah. So I do already have the game loaded up, so we can just jump right into it. And let's go. Yeah, so spawning in the top right, we have the red challenger. It is Benbot BC. Meanwhile, our returning champ, the blue Protoss, it is Golden Armada. And my voice barely survived this intro. And voice returns. Okay. So, Golden Armada seems to have a couple different builds. He has a very safe one, and then he has a greedy 3-base opener. And then he likes to kind of go, what were we seeing, like Gateway, Robo, Void Ray kind of idea, and then he transitions into Sky Toss. Benbot seems to be on the lookout for various proxies. His SCV is a little too gung-ho on finding proxies, and even when it dies to like a scout unit, he'll send out another one looking for proxies. But with that said, oh, is he going to bunker contain versus Protoss as well? This is interesting. All right, let's see what happens when this barracks completes. I know that he bunker contains versus my own bot. That's about all I know. And it gave my bot fits. Oftentimes I got just completely trapped on one base. One of my builds you usually be able to win, but only in like a massive comeback, and my other builds will just get crushed by it. So this could be issues for bots, especially if they're trying to greedily expand, or if there's no thought of, you know, let's build up an army and then attack. If he's just like, first unit pops out and he's like, oh, there's a threat, let me go attack it. And then next unit pops out, oh, there's a threat, and go attack it. He could just end up funneling one gateway troop at a time into this bunker. So again, one of those things that's very simple for a bot author to code, but very difficult for your opponent's bot to code against. With that said, he's probably not going to funnel into this bunker because he doesn't know it exists yet. So that's interesting. I think this would probably be the better build though versus this out of Golden Armada. Obviously it's going to scout it later, but he will have a lot of earlier units, right? This is the 2 gates into Robo and Stargate rather than the really fast 3 base. No proxy barracks, so he's going to have to send these Marines all the way across the map. So I guess there was a window of time where this first and second zealot might have been able to actually take out the bunker. So maybe this was bad luck. If he tried to expand early, then maybe this zealot goes over here and takes it out. With that said, the SCVs have arrived. The Marines have arrived. SCV kind of in a vulnerable position. I'm guessing he's remaining here to repair, but it would be nice to have him on the back side there. I do a bunker contain too, and I kind of build everything based off of the bunker position. So if this is the bunker position, and this is like the ramp position, then I define this as like a spot behind the bunker. And then I'll define like this as like 2 spots that are like 80 degrees behind the bunker. And then, you know, this for siege tank positions. Like so all my positioning, I hard code like the bunker position, but all the positioning around it is based off of, you know, where's the opponent's natural, where's the opponent's ramp, and kind of trying to figure out like where's the best place to build units based on all those positions. We do have an expansion coming out of Benbot here, meanwhile completing his factory and tech lab and going directly into a siege tank. Does seem to be an issue here with some idle SCVs, but I think that's built into this bot on purpose. I think Benbot kind of goes like 16 of 16, and then the other SCVs are just kind of left to be available for other tasks. So oftentimes he likes to build a bunch of bunkers at the front, and you might notice sometimes he has some idle SCVs at the front, and that's just because he's already fully saturated on his other 2 bases. Yeah, and that's what's happening here. So these idle SCVs are hanging out at the bunker to just to be there for repair. But now that this command center is completing, they have a real task to do, so now they're being sent to this base. I don't know if this is ideal, because even if you're 16 of 16 on the minerals, that's not, you can get extra benefit out of adding more SCVs, especially on the faraway patches. So if you have extra SCVs, it's probably better to oversaturate your mineral line. With that said, I completely missed a giant attack, so let's just back up a little bit. Who cares about idle SCVs, and we got a fight going on. So we do have 7 Marines, a bunker, and a Reaper. Meanwhile, on the high ground, we have an Immortal, which is the key here, as well as a good handful of Zealots and Stalkers. A little bit afraid of the positioning of these Zealots being at the back. I'm guessing they're going to get stuck on the ramp if he tries to engage this. Benbot even adding a missile turret, which is interesting. Which is going to come in handy if it can finish in time, because that is a Void Ray coming out. And an Observer. Missile turret does finish. Let's see if we can get that Void Ray in time. I do not think so, but did get a little bit of hull damage. SCVs and Marines will run home. Marines will probably not be able to outrun these Stalkers if they decide to chase them the whole way, which they do. But the SCV should be able to make it. And in fact, this is going to turn into an attack. So again, like the previous match, I'm not sure if this was a purposeful attack. Like when he held the Adepts, he immediately went, and now when he held the Marines, he purposely went. A lot of defense at the top here, though. We got 2 Widow Mines. We got double bunker, we got repair, we got a siege tank, and nice and safe in the back. Even a missile turret to take down the Void Ray. And yeah. The SCV repair just makes us so strong at this point of the game when the unit counts are low. So even with an Immortal in that attack, it basically killed nothing. You might have gotten a couple Marines or a couple SCVs, I'm not quite sure, but not much. And not much on the follow-up. We've seen this before. It is a very late natural base. This is not going to be a 1 base all-in. There will be an expand, but it just comes super late with this build. Yeah, because if you're constantly building from 2 gateways, a Robo, and a Stargate off of 1 base, I don't think you'll ever actually save up 400 minerals. So it's probably going to take like a supply block or something along those lines to make it happen. Unless it's coded into the bot somehow. Like, don't just expand when I get 400 minerals, but expand based on these conditions. You know, if the time reaches this point, expand. If I lose a mineral patch here, then expand. If it's some condition like that, then it might happen. But I think if he just spends all of his money based on the production he has, I don't think he'll ever pull up 400 minerals. At least I don't think so. Viking does go down. Siege tank again shelling away at these poor Stalkers. Zealot does soak up some damage from both the bunkers and the Widow Mine. 1 bunker does go down, as will this missile turret, but the force is getting small. 1 of the Immortals goes down. That's actually massive. Immortals shooting at things like Marines and SCVs and Hellions instead of hitting that armored unit with the bunker. I think with the 2 Immortals, he could have taken down yet another bunker. But that did not happen, and the expansion has occurred. Again, I'm not sure if that is because he pooled up 400 minerals. It might actually be. If you're building Stalkers, Immortals, and Void Rays, which he was, then that's super gas intensive, which means he'll never actually have... Like, he'll run out of the ability to build those units with gas, which means he'll pool up minerals. So maybe that's what happened. Although he does mix in Zealots here and there when he can't afford the Stalker. So Benbot is like a full base ahead. He's had this saturate for quite a while as Golden Armada is not taken his natural yet. Only now is he transferring workers, and it's not a full saturation of workers. It's decent. He'll get up to 12 of 16 right away. That's not bad. But against a bot that's fully saturated on 2 bases and has a 3rd base coming up, and even has a whole bunch of extra SCVs here, that will be ready to transfer as soon as that 3rd is done. He could be in trouble. Just kind of a nice map for this setup too. Like, Benbot BC's always does like this frontal bunker thing, which is super strong at defending. You got bunkers, missile turrets, repair, siege tanks, Widow Mines. But having that and a high ground advantage and a choke point just made it all the more stronger. If we say he built it down here, which he does sometimes actually, depending on the map. And those Immortals, like, you know, the Zealots weren't getting trapped in the back. You're able to get concave with the Stalkers and Immortals, then maybe he gets like double the damage done. I still don't think he would ever break Benbot, but if you do more damage, at least he'll somewhat pay for itself. He will be able to pick away at some of these SCVs though. That's not always nice. Up to 10 worker kills. And if he gets dragged in there, you might get a bunch more. Looks like this is turning into a planetary though, so his time to harass is small, and with these Marines showing up, his time to harass is actually over. With that said, I think he did kill off 1 more worker. No, 3 more workers. 13 workers down. Not too shabby. This is a problem. do we have observers? Did I remember the production tab? I didn't. No observers on the map. That is an issue. Okay, one observer on the way. Just completed. And it's kind of moving out with the army. But this Pearl Widow Mine is giving fits to Golden Armada. Looks like every time he can't build it, he changes the worker and tries to build it again. This base is clear. His army is nearby, even if it weren't clear. But his army is not it's not coordinated with where he's expanding. It almost looks like he wants to expand up here by his army position, but yeah, no luck. It appears his army does try to charge this Widow Mine every time he sees it. Like right now he sees it, and the army goes that way. But as soon as he loses vision of the Widow Mine, because it, you know, the probe leaves or dies, then he goes back to this position here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Benbot's BC is comfortably on a full 3-base economy. Even has a bunch of extra SCVs again. Fusion Core is done. Battle Cruisers are on the way. I think Benbot has slowly changed his build to become more and more less about rushing Battle Cruisers and more about just getting them later on. But with that said, he did jump in. And I haven't done this the whole series, but let's back up twice in one game because I missed it. Alright, I didn't miss it by that much. So, jumping across the map. As a player and a bot author, I always prefer moving across the map to attack to harass with BCs. Unless there's like a really tight timing, like you're doing at the start of the game when your opponent doesn't have much anti-air. That way you just have the ability to teleport home and use that kind of invulnerability that Battlecruisers got. So they do, as they get weak, I think once they drop below half health, or I guess higher than that, because it says this guy's at 300. So maybe when it loses like a third of its health, it'll retreat back into this dead zone and wait until it has teleport available. I've seen Benbot play enough to kind of figure out the logic. He jumps in, fights for a while until he starts losing health, and then he retreats into a dead zone. And then once he has teleport available, then it's time to go for it again. Pulling his workers, I kind of like that idea. If your main base is under attack, to send them to a different base. And then when the base is cleared, send them back. I am not good at maintaining my worker counts. They are pretty dumb in that they don't recognize when they are dying and will just sit there and die out. Sometimes that can be better than poor decision making of pulling your workers, because at least if you leave them on the mineral line, they're mining. Yep, so yeah, as they come back in and they attack, they're able to jump back home. This one, once teleport becomes available, will do the same. And it's nice, it's pulling the workers away each time, maybe getting a probe or two. Killing the probe count isn't that important because probe count is not the bottleneck for Benbot, for Golden Armada's economy right now. The bottleneck is the fact that he cannot take a third base. Still repeating this attempts over and over again. This Widow Mine has killed like 8 probes, which probably means there's been at least 20 attempts to actually expand here, because it only kills like every third probe, every two or three probes. There's a bit of a logic error out of Benbot BC. He did attempt to Yamato a Phoenix Scout, and he even knew it was a scout, I believe, because it went into the range of the Raven. Maybe there was like a moment in time where he couldn't tell if it was a hallucination or not. I think a good rule of thumb, or at least something I use, is if you haven't seen a real Phoenix yet, just assume every Phoenix is a hallucination. And by seeing a real phoenix, I mean when you see a phoenix and have detection to confirm the fact that it's not a hallucination. Um, the other way, which would be a little bit more complicated, would try to be to see how much damage you're doing when you shoot the phoenix, or see how much damage you're taking from the phoenix, and that would give away the information of whether it's a scout or not. But that can be pretty difficult to code because we don't really... It's hard to tell what unit it's actually shooting. So massive jump in here by Benbot BC. Immediate probe pull, only loses a single probe to like 7 BCs, but the question is, can he get these BCs out of his base? A single Void Ray will be nice, especially if it charges up, but it does get gunned down immediately by the Yamato cannon. Looks like the Yamato is safe for very specific targets, and Stalkers is not one of them, but Void Rays is. So if we bring up the units tab right now, we have 4 Immortals and 2 Colossi and Observer. I would say that is not the recommended army to kill Mass Battlecruiser. You did get 1 Battlecruiser low, so it's going to be hanging out here until it gets the ability to jump again, at which point they'll come back into the fight. Meanwhile, losing all of his production, sending probes to rebuild the production, like this pylon here, or these 2 structures on top of each other. With that said, I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up, because where he did actually figure out a way to expand, it looks like he sent his army down here with an observer. So he finally got up to 4 bases, which is awesome. But he got there about 5 minutes too late. If that happened 5 minutes earlier, I could see this being a difficult game for Benbot BC. I'm not sure how Mass Battlecruiser would do against, you know, compositions that involve Tempest, for instance. That would kite perfectly from range. But maybe it would do well. I mean, he does get that initial RAS. He's good at jumping them back and preserving his BC count. It would have been an interesting game, but with that said, one Widowmine to win it all made this a very one-sided match. So congratulations to Benbot BC, taking out the returning King of the Hill in Golden Armada. And now moving on to the final match, right? So this will be Benbot BC versus TRP. I mean, the final match for my section of the Gauntlet tournaments. And then obviously the winner of this match, I'm going to put him up against the winner of the official Gauntlet tournament. So, yeah. We'll check the profile here, but we've seen some of the Tier's bots in the past. He had a random bot, a Zerg bot, and a Terran bot in this series. Known for a lot of different strategies, over 60 for Protoss and almost 100 in total. Yeah, so over 60 Protoss strategies. Now, like you said, like a lot of these strategies aren't active. They may not even be functional, but they might be turned off because they're not that good. But it's nice to have all these strategies like in there, just so, you know, maybe you want to snipe a certain bot and it's like, I wonder if DTs will work against that. Well, I have this old DT build I'm not using. Then we pull that up again, then we edited it to little bits, and now I got this like nice sniper build. So pretty cool to see a bot with so many builds. And he's been around for a while and been a very powerful bot. So some of the notable achievements are 2nd place at the GIST AI tournament. I don't even know what that is, much before my time. Winner of Flash Challenge, a race to New Year's on AI Arena. Don't know that one either. Most Innovative Bot Award on SE2 AI Ladder Season 7. Yeah, so the SI2 AI tournaments had like almost like an Academy Awards, right? So there's the winner of the tournament, but there's also like best first showing of a new bot, you know, most creative bot, the most BM bot, you know, all the little things like that. So that's kind of cool. First place in Probots 2020 Season 1. I do remember watching this. Yeah, Tier took down the Probots tournament, which is a massive achievement. And 3rd place in SE2 AI Ladder Season 9, which is also quite recent. So this bot, well, at least on AI Arena, was created July 2019. And I'm going to guess that's when AI Arena was first created, because I'm pretty sure Tier outdates AI Arena. Anywho, let's load up the replay. Benbot BC versus Tier. A Probots champion from 2020 and a third place finisher from the most recent tournament of Probots. I'm guessing the third place actually means more than the first place just because of how current it is. You know, things change so quickly in the bot meta. But with that said, two very impressive bots. So this one will be on AI Arena. And we do have the challenger. I love that. Sorry, let's just see that again. Check out this probe split right at the start. Boom, doubling up on all the close patches right away. Very nice. Yeah, so it is the challenger. It is the red Protoss. It is Tier P. Meanwhile, in the top right, we have the blue Terran. It is Benbot BC. It is actually interesting how many bots like perfect the split right at the start of the game. You wouldn't think that would be like a priority, but you know, it's the first thing in the game, so it's usually the first thing people think of. A lot of bot authors are maybe more familiar with Brood War, or maybe even played Brood War more, where the split was like super important. So, I don't know, just a random fact there. Did I finish the intros? I don't know. But Benbots is the returning champ as the blue Terran facing the challenger Tier P. And the winner of this will go on to be the winner of at least my section of the Probots tournament. So this is the final match. Two very early gas out of Tier here. So we're not going to be seeing an early expand. Looks like only one worker going in the gas though. So this could be one of these things like just take all your available gas geysers. And then the bot will manipulate how many workers to put in gas depending on the gas needs. So it may not seem efficient that way. It's like you could have just taken one gas and put 3 on it and gotten the same effect, more or less. But in some ways, especially as the game goes on, it's much more efficient than the way humans do it. Especially since the third worker you put in gas isn't as efficient as the first two. And just having all the gas taken means like if you have this massive gas need, you can immediately go into gas. Or if you, you know, if you're pooling up too much gas, you can just pull these guys off of gas and put them in minerals. You know, that's something a human player can't do, especially when a human player gets up to like 5-6 bases. Like you can kind of manipulate it a little bit, but it's not something you can always be attending to. Proxy Pylon out of Tier going down. And Chrono Boosting Warp Gates, making his third gateway at home. I'm guessing this could be a 4-gate, fourth gate going over here. Tier always had a 4-gate build, and then I believe he got inspired by Scarlet, who made like a perfectly executed 4-gate build. You know, as a pro player, she knows how to do it perfectly. And Tier's like, oh, that's really strong. Scarlet made it to number 2 on the ladder. I should update my build order to match the one that Scarlet uses. You know, making this 4th gateway across the map is important for the fast warp-ins. You know, starting with 2 gateways is important so you can spend all your resources on gateway units as you wait for warp gate to finish. The 3rd and 4th gate don't have to be completed until warp gate's complete, so you can focus more on getting out those early gateway units. So this Stalker is able to push back the Marines. The key part here is the Stalker didn't allow any Marines to get into the bunker. So I believe this bunker is probably going to end up falling. However, this proxy on the other side of the map did get scouted. I say the Benbot BC kind of overdoes it with the SCV scouting, but in this case, totally worth it. Warp Gate has completed those. The Force Warp Gate is warp-in is happening. However, there's just too many Marines here to deal with. And kind of being surrounded, these Stalkers don't know which way to run to get to safety. It seems like they're trying to run away from these Marines and end up running into the other ones. Whole bunch of SCVs coming to help with the fight. Maybe this is some sort of SCV defense that was meant to protect the base and they just kind of didn't realize that the range of the base doesn't span out here. But it kind of worked out. Proxy Pylon does go down. These Stalkers have made it across the map, finally, that this bunker went down on the other side. I was about to say, like, this little warp-in of Stalkers wasn't It wasn't enough to handle those Marines because the majority of Stalkers were stuck shooting that empty bunker. So I feel like this 4-gate is more than enough to just run over Benbot, but he got stuck fighting here, he got stuck shooting on the bunker, and now his warp-in point doesn't exist. Looks like Tyr is still smart enough to warp in units on the far side of the map as he waits for that pylon to complete. However, losing that pylon also meant he lost 1 gateway worth of production, so that cut down his count of Stalkers. And why is he floating gas over minerals? You wouldn't think that would happen with Mass Stalker. Yeah, interesting. I noticed like his he's trying to run by the bunkers. That's I don't know. I mean, kiting a bunker doesn't make sense, so this is cool. Okay, he did make it in. He's past the bunker wall. That's huge. I didn't know that a bot was smart enough to do this. To see like a threatening front line to say, let me just run by it. Still kind of getting distracted by the SCVs though, that drag him back into the bunker range. This reinforcement of Stalkers is getting gunned down by the bunker, but again, this is a bunker with just 4 Marines. It's not the highest amount of firepower. Obviously it can't be broken easily, but you know, if this were 8 Marines and 2 bunkers, then these Stalkers would be instantly dying. With that said, these Stalkers don't seem to have any priority to focus down the SCVs. Even these Stalkers don't have priority to shoot the SCVs as they're shooting the barracks. So it doesn't really matter that the firepower is low. Eventually, the Stalkers died at the front line, and when they did die, they had killed nothing in the process, except forcing a little bit of repair. The Stalkers in the main base, though, are getting a lot of work done. They're killing some Marines. I think they killed off the factory. A lot of SCVs went down. A bunch of them in the red, though, that survived, which is handy for Benbot. There's another one. So preserving a lot of very low hit point SCVs, wow. With like 30 damage more, he could probably kill like 7 SCVs. There's so, oh my gosh. Look at all of them. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. All these SCVs one shot from dead. That is certainly not luck. That must be some sort of coding built into Benbots to retreat SCVs when they get low. One of them does go down there. Yeah, okay, so these Stalkers are kind of moving in to take a shots on these SCVs. I'm guessing that's why they run in, but sometimes they run in and shoot the bunker. I would think at the point when the Stalker is able to fire, when his weapon is off cooldown, if there's a SCV and a bunker in range, he'll probably shoot the SCV. That's weird. Like this Stalker, for instance, was able to shoot and it didn't. It just kept running. So sometimes they might prioritize the movement over even when it's able to fire. So this missile turret is actually a huge deficit for Benbot BC. It's something that he has to repair, but the Stalkers can shoot it outside of bunker range. And since he has to repair, he keeps pulling over SCVs, like these 6 hit point SCVs. And they're falling here and there. So workers loss is actually 29 now for Benbot BC. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we don't see any thought of expanding. TRP is down to 5 mineral patches. Soon to be 4, as this last one only has 10 hit points in it. So that's going to be his income cut in half. With that said, like, honestly, if TRP takes down this missile turret, it's bad for Tyr and good for Benbot. As soon as that goes down, all of a sudden these bunkers are going to get into play. Okay, so it looks like a bit of a run by again. 3 of them make it in, 2 of them very weak, one of them's got a bunch of hit points still. The rest kind of staying back. Nope, no, they're going to kind of run by, but then the other ones run back. I don't know what is happening there. I think it's conflict of code. You know, some code wants to kite, some code wants to target units, some code's trying to run away from the enemy fire, and some code is trying to run past the bunker or the bunker wall. So I say that as if that's a bug in the movement, just because I have this happen with my bot sometimes. Where you got some generic code doing generic things, then you got very specific code trying to do specific things, and then they're both giving commands at the same time and conflicting with each other. With that said, all those stalkers went down, and even though we got like 33 worker kills, 33 worker kills is not, like 2 bases worth of income. It's only, 1,600 minerals. That's a small amount of minerals for how much you can get off these 2 bases. And in the game of attrition, assuming the tier never expands, that's not going to be close to enough. He needs to be trading like a 3-to-1 ratio, or he needs to be able to break in and finish off Benbot here. With that said, look at the bank on Benbot. Up to 2,200 minerals and 1,500 gas. I wonder if he's kind of broken or not. Because if he is, maybe that gives tier a chance at a draw. Yeah, I mean, we saw in the past, he builds Marines, he builds siege tanks and Widow Mines, and then he goes into Battlecruiser, right? But he can't build the siege tanks and Widow Mines anymore because he lost the factory. And this was a long time ago he lost the factory. That has not been replaced. He's still building workers. Like, he's not completely broken. He's still... A lot of the generic code is still happening. Still building workers, still building Marines, still building supply. Interestingly, no orbital. So I wonder if like he's got like a production queue, for instance, in his bot. Like, these are like the structures that I want to build. And right now it's saying starport. That's what I'm guessing, right? And like, okay, this command center finished, I need to build an orbital, but I'll build that. That's later in the queue. Right now I need to build starport. Oh, my factory died, so I need to replace it. So I added that to the queue, but that's lower down the queue. Right now I need to build starport. And if that's the case, if he's stuck on starport or armory or something that requires a factory, then he'll never actually get to the next structures in the queue. And where, like, if you build your bots in Python, there's probably already like a built-in framework that's smart enough to, move on to the next structure, or if you require a structure, maybe puts that to the top of the queue or something like that. Everything is built from scratch in Java, at least currently. So it's all on the bot developer, however he decided to build structures or do a build order. That's how this works. Like with my bot, it's often a lot of generated build order. Like, just kind of, I don't say when to build depots. I just kind of build depots as I need supply. I don't really say when to add on production. I just kind of add on production as I have the income to handle it. But at the beginning of the game, I do kind of have a hard-coded build order, at least for the first few structures. And if Benbot's doing something similar to that, and his hard-coded build order includes a starport, then he's kind of effed right now, because he's never going to finish that hard-coded section. Tier, meanwhile, is down to his final, maybe about 700 gas here or so. 400, 200, 100? Yeah, about 700 gas. Benbot's still making SCVs. You can see his SCV count is up to 74, even though he only has 2 bases remaining. So we got 2 bots who are in a lot of trouble. But in a match between just 2 bots, they can't both be in trouble. So I think Tyr, well, he's got a couple warpins left. Down to his final 2 patches. 500 minerals. That's going to be like maybe 3 if he's lucky, 4 more stalkers. It does look like Benbot, you know, he doesn't need battle cruisers and siege tanks and widow mines and expansions to win. He can win with a single marine once Tyr is broke, which Tyr basically is. And a lot of this will come down to what happens to the workers when you run out of minerals. I think for Benbot, it'll end up looking like this. Maybe when he has no minerals left, he'll distance mine. But what about these guys? What happens when this mineral patch goes down? Will he start distance mining the natural? Because if they do, that could that means he could eventually win this game very, very slowly. But I assume if you send like a stalker one at a time against this for an hour, you'll eventually break through it. And it probably would be like one at a time, given that he'd only be distance mining. For Benbot, if when he runs out of mineral patches and his remaining bases, he just suicides his SCVs by moving them across the map, then that suicide of SCVs will actually be a game-winning attack of SCVs versus a completely broke Tyr. Looks like this forever scout worker has found the proxy again, which will bring these Marines out. But yeah, I don't like if there's one bot that loves staying on the defense, it's Benbot. Even when he's maxed out, he'll stay on the defense. I'm not sure what initiates his attacks. Obviously, he's much more aggressive with his battle cruisers, but that's not something we're going to ever see. Interesting how he stimmed his Marines just to run into the bunker. Benbot's not going beyond 81 workers. Production tab, you know, he's still making Marines, one at a time. There could be some sort of supply-based attack, like when I reach 150 supply, go attack. He'll eventually get there, building 1 Marine at a time with an 8,000 mineral bank. Dog's getting angry at the lack of action in this game. So this probe is here to rebuild the proxy pylon that went down with his remaining 75 minerals. So I think we've seen the end of Tyr. He's not distance mining his natural, so there's no follow-up to this 4-gate, which I guess kind of makes sense, right? If you're building a 4-gate, like how often would a distance mining your natural ever be relevant, right? How well, like basically everything after the 5-minute mark won't be that relevant with a 4-gate build. You know, it's mostly about that initial surge. You either win the game or you don't. I thought since Tyr had 60 builds, though, maybe he has some like generic stuff that just happens for all the builds. Like, for instance, distance mine when your workers have nowhere to go to. But it's not the case here. Benbot, meanwhile, is down to, I think, his final mineral patch. Final 2 mineral patches. Yeah, the rest of the SCVs aren't doing much. With that said, it's not like he's broke, right? These are minerals that he's mining but not spending, so they're still basically all there. They're just sitting in his bank rather than sitting in the mineral patches themselves. So I think our final hope would be to see that this 1 Marine at a time eventually gets to some sort of magical supply count that Benbot decides is the count to attack with. I think of all the bots that could get caught in this situation, Benbot is the least likely to attack. I've definitely seen games where his bio never gets on the offense. It's just for defensive purposes. So I think I'm going to go up to 8x speed, and we'll just kind of see what happens. I did notice that Benbot threw down a supply depot, so he's never going to get like supply blocked and stop making units for that reason. So I'm pretty sure we'll get to 200 supply out of Benbot, which is going to be 81 workers, and then I guess 119 Marines. And if he gets to 119 Marines and doesn't attack, then I think we'll have a draw. Now, in this gauntlet tournament, when two bots draw, I just kick them both out of the tournament and go on with the next two bots. Now, however, this is the final, so we're not going to have a winnerless tournament. We will do a second match. I have a system for choosing matches from the AI Arena ladder to keep me from playing favorites, so I stuck to that system. So I'm not going to like check to see if a game is a draw and not choose it. But yeah, we'll just stick to that system and we'll move on to the next game. Yep, so there finishes another depot. Marines are continuing to build. Supply count is up to 135. Time is at 27 minutes. AI Arena does time out a match at 1 hour. Just because, you know, you can get bots unable to finish the game and the game will kind of drag on forever. They'll keep mining, so it won't draw the way that Blizzard expects it to draw. But since they can't finish, you know, it may end up taking them to mine out 16 bases before the natural draw occurs. So for that reason, we capped it at 1 hour, which I think is a fair amount of time, because if two bots are actually fighting it out in a really close game, usually they'll mine out the map around like the 40-45 minute mark, which gives them a good 15 minutes of final battles before you know, the game gets permanently cancelled. So the 1 hour mark, I don't think it's ever cut off a game that would have had a winner otherwise. Because, you know, there's limited server time to play these games. You don't want it going on forever. So Benbot does have the ability to make another 126 Marines, 127. And he only needs another 37 to max out. Now, if there's any code like attack when I get to 5 battle cruisers, or attack when I take my 4th base, or anything like any criteria like that, obviously it won't happen. What we're hoping for is criteria of once I max out, let's go on the offense. Once he hits 200 supply, if he doesn't attack, I'm going to open up the timer. This is a spoiler for both you and me. I don't want to open it because if it says any time that's not 1 hour, we know it ends in a more natural way, and then I've kind of spoiled what happened. But we're going to open it up at 200 because I'm not going to 4x for another 20 minutes. Or 8x for another 20 minutes, so whatever 20 minutes divided by 8 is, which I guess isn't that long, it's just a couple more minutes. All right, we're at 186 supply. 14 more Marines. Should we just open it? Let's just open it. Okay, it goes to 51 minutes. So there could be a winner here. That was not cut off by AI Arena. However, no one's mining and no one's attacking. Losing a unit does not change the draw condition. You have to lose a structure, mine minerals. Yes, a structure has to die or something has to be mined. I think those are the two ways to stop. Or something has to be produced. Okay, so this is what's keeping the game going, is producing units. So maybe he pushes out and wins, and that's why it's 51 minutes, or maybe he maxes out at 200 supply, and then all of a sudden no more units are being produced. And with no units produced, no one mining, and no structures dying. Yeah, this is going to be a draw based on the rules of StarCraft 2. He keeps killing a single probe, but that does not stop the draw timer. And yeah, there's the draw timer coming up. This game will end in 2 minutes. We've gone this far, so we may as well finish it off, but I'm 100% sure this is going to end in a draw. So we will have to redo the final match. What a climactic / anticlimactic way to end the series. We end up in a best of 2. Unintentionally. Boom. Tie. Yeah, so Tyr did enough damage to disrupt the build order of Benbot, and Benbot was unable to recover from that situation. Meanwhile, Benbot was able to withhold an entire 1-base all-in of 4-gate attacks, preventing Tyr from winning the game, and there was no follow-up out of Tyr. So both bots doing the job it takes to prevent the other from winning, but neither bot's being able to do what they require to win. So we will hop into the next match. This is... This is on Death Aura, and we have a rematch of Tier P versus Benbot VC. So my dog is saying, is spawning in the top left, we have the red Protoss. It is Tier P. Meanwhile, in the bottom right, we have the blue Terran. It is Benbot PC. I can't believe this video is already 50 minutes. We've only done 2 games. So it looks like again we're going to be seeing a bunker contain out of Benbot BC. Last match it didn't get a whole lot done. It did prevent the Stalkers from getting across the map. And it took a long time for the Stalkers to take it down, which makes me think if Benbot gets a Marine inside of that bunker, this could be a completely different story. You know, if he's, by sending out a couple Stalkers at a time, I could actually see this bunker creating infinite amounts of damage versus Tyr and winning it that way. Meanwhile, on the other side, on Tyr's side of the map, it looks like, again, it's going to be the 4-gate build. So there's the 2 gateways, there's the early second gas. The only thing he hasn't gotten perfect, which Scarlet Spot does have, is the gas mining. I think you probably want as much gas as possible. As long as it doesn't slow down the Cyber Core, that's all that matters. Other than that, get the maximum amount of gas, as a maximum amount of gas means the most amount of Stalkers. Because if you have the option to warp in a Zealot or a Stalker, obviously the Stalker is the much more powerful choice. First gateway is done, as is the second. However, not producing any units. I guess he skips the early Zealot and goes straight into Stalker production, which is fine. Meanwhile, setting up his proxy pylon at the 3rd base of Benbot BC, but he does have that SCV that's constantly looking for proxies, so that's something to look out for. Meanwhile, Benbot's bunker is up. Stalker is about to pop. A Marine is about to arrive. Will the Marine get in the bunker this time? It looks like it's going to be a yes. It is in there. Stalker arrives. And it's not focusing the SCV. Okay, so that's pretty key for Benbot. Ooh. It looks like he can actually shoot this bunker down from the ramp. If he gets the right spot, where he doesn't get shot in reverse. Yeah, there is a spot where you can shoot this bunker from the high ground and not get spotted. But Tyr just loves to run back and forth between each of his shots, so I don't think he'll sit in that position. But if he just sits like right here, he can gun down that bunker and not take any damage. What are these Marines doing? No Marines. No! Oh, they're coming to help versus the proxy. New Marine has arrived, but he's not favoring to jump into the bunker. Stalkers are... yeah, looks like they want to get to the proxy location, but they're stuck on this bunker. However, the bunker did lose the SCV, so eventually that will go down. Meanwhile, at the proxy location, these Stalkers are dying one at a time as they warp in, which is not good for Tyr. Eventually, the new wave of Stalkers will arrive as that bunker falls. But before then, he's going to lose a good portion of the power of this 4-gate. Oh, SCV pull, does it happen this time? Yeah, so it looks like the SCV pull is based on the proximity to this base. So it has arrived and it's helping with the fights. Most of the Marines are shooting the wrong stuff and yeah, pulling back. Okay. So one Widow Mine not in the greatest location, but based on the way we've seen Stalkers move, I'm guessing a Stalker will jump in range of that at some point. I'm pretty sure it'll get the kills it needs. Actually, no Marines in the side of that bunker. And without this pylon going down, even though he lost a bunch of Stalkers in the defense, he does have the forward warp in location. And now there is a good 10, 11 Stalkers coming in. We do have a bunker with a single Marine. We got Widow Mine that's going to shoot at actually the weakest Stalker, so that's good news for Tier. And with that one bunker going down and only the single Marine, and even without Drilling Claws, the Widow Mine will get revealed based on the patch this game was played on. With that said, Scarlet's actually working, and maybe even completed, creating the newest patches for us without the help of Blizzard. So she's updated patch 4.10 up to 5.05, which is pretty cool. So we might be seeing that in the next season of Probots, in the next ladder season. And then we'll finally get to all this new stuff that's been denied to us by Blizzard. So stuff like shield battery overcharge will be available to our bot authors. So anyways, massive Stalker force here. We're up to 15 Stalkers and counting. There is no mass bunker wall at the front anymore. Now we do have a factory this time, but he pulled all of his workers to assist in the attack, so he's only mining gas. And I think, as long as the last game was, this one's going to be a quick one without any Marines, without any workers on minerals. There's not going to be a siege tank. There's not even going to be Marines. We do have a single Hellion. Last I checked, a single Hellion does not defeat 18 Stalkers and unbuildable plates. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and crown our champion in the best of the rest gauntlet tournament. It is Tier P. Boom. There you go. But we are not done yet. We are going to put him up against the champion of... what am I doing? The champion of the AI Arena Probots Showcase, which was of the top 8 bots. Now, it's kind of weird that I'm stopping at Tier P, even though there's the Probots is only the top 8. So there's 11 bots left here. But it did involve some bots like Forgate Dev, which is basically just Scarlet's test version of Forgate, so I didn't think there's any reason to put that in. There's also a couple other bots that are in the top 8 that didn't play in that tournament. Dominion Dog being one of them, as Fiddly decided to bring Mixed Breed instead. And Sharpened Edge was another one because Dr. Imphy decided to bring Harvester instead. Dr. Imphy was part of the Sharpened Edge team. So I thought it'd be kind of unfair to include like a number 4 bot in the best of the rest tournament. So we're going to cut those out. So once again, if you haven't watched the Probots Showcase, I suggest watching that now, as I'm about to spoil it. First link in the description below has the link to that. But so spoilers start now. The champion of that bot that came out of it was, surprise, surprise, Micro Machine, the #1 bot by a landslide. No one was able to snipe him off this time. And yeah, we'll put him up against Tier P, and we'll see how that goes. So then we just find that replay. I did put that in a different folder. Okay. I really don't want to edit this video. Where is it? Here we go. I know you're here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be Tier P versus Micro Machine. Now, there are a few bots that come up with builds that beat Micro Machine, and probably the bot most famous for doing so, if it's not Spiny, then it would be Tier. So Tier has sniped Micro Machine in the past. He's created snipes that we've never seen versus Micro Machine. And he just has like some, with his 60 cheesy builds, some of them just like work well versus Micro Machine. So I wouldn't count Tier P out here. I would say he has probably a better chance of being Micro Machine than most of the bots in the top 8 that we saw in that ProBots tournament. Meanwhile, we do see a little bit of proxy action coming out of Micro Machine here. So let's get through the intros quickly, get the production tab before I forget. And spawning in the bottom left, we have the end boss himself, the unbeatable one. It is Micro Machine as a red Terran. Meanwhile, in the top right, we have the blue Potas. It is the best of the rest champion. It is Tier P. So, probably hard-coded here, but I do like the fact that Tier P is walling off the Reaper jump on this map. On this map, Reapers have to come to the natural choke point or jump up this little cliff here. And with 2 3x3 structures, you should be able to wall this off. Actually, I think just 5 cells is all you need. So 3x3 and a 2x2 would do it as well. So Micro Machine is... Did he say what build he was doing? No. So proxying a Barracks, I'm going to guess this is going to be his Proxy Cyclone build or maybe a Proxy Marauder build. Proxy Marauders is pretty strong versus Protoss as well. But actually just a Reaper coming out to start with at least. So maybe Proxy Cyclone with a Reaper opener. Whatever it is, he's taken double gas. So I feel like it's going to be something aggressive. Meanwhile, Tier has scouted what's up here. He saw no Barracks, he saw double gas. So we'll see how well Tier can respond to what he scouts. Throwing down a second gateway, taking double gas. He is building a unit-heavy composition and even chrono boosting out a Stalker. So it seems pretty fair right now. Meanwhile, Micro Machine is building a factory and a tech lab. So I guess after this first Reaper, he is going to start into the Cyclones. Does get one probe very low. Let's see if he can circle back. The pathfinding on Micro Machine's Reapers is pretty solid. With that said, he could get trapped here. Remember, there is only the one entrance and exit. Circling back, there is that weak probe. It has regenerated some of its shields. Spreading out some damage, not getting much. But if nothing else, this does get a nice scout off. Able to get a lot of information. And able to pester these Stalkers out of Tier. Based on the rally point, maybe the Stalker is meant to cross the map immediately and break in. And he might have been able to do that before this 3 depot wall got up. Or even if it did finish, he could kill this wall and kill any SCVs trying to repair the wall because there's no defenses at home at the moment. Reaper did make it out alive. I did not get any kills, however. Second Reaper has arrived. Nice little grenade placement. And we'll try to jump in the back. But with 2 Stalkers on the high ground and 2 on the low ground. Am I hallucinating? Not sure what that's about. Cyclone does get a lock-in. The Barracks is now becoming a spotter for the Cyclone, which is nice. Again, losing the vision based on that vision blocker of the ramp. This time the Barracks is able to give him the information he needs. And this, I'm not sure where he's going with that. Is that going home to repair? Oh, Phoenix. Very nicely done. Picking up these Cyclones, making their lock-on quite useless. This is a solid counter versus Cyclones for a human or a bot, apparently. I know it works well for humans. I haven't seen a bot use it before, but that is pretty cool. And in fact, I have a vague recollection of Tyr defeating this Cyclone-based build with Phoenix in the past. So it is possible. Viking does get out, but the Phoenix with their superior speed to stay right on top of it and got it down quite quickly. Vikings do bonus damage to armored, which isn't relevant because Phoenix are light. Phoenix do bonus damage to light, which isn't relevant because Vikings are armored. So they're both equally bad as against each other as the other one. However, that's just superior numbers of Phoenix does help. Now he does take down the weak Phoenix at least, so he does trade 1-for-1 in that second fight, but this is a massive attack coming in. Just Reapers and Cyclones out. And nothing going on at home. We do have an expansion going up, but that's obviously going to be too late. Vikings are on the way, but the Vikings are being outnumbered by these Cyclones heavily. So the Vikings are not doing well. It's going to be about these Cyclones. Can they get some nice lock-ons? And another nice pickup from the Phoenix. The Phoenix are just devastating this build. Killing off a Viking response. Making the Cyclones more or less useless. Not able to raise his wall quite in time, so he's able to get some stalkers in. Going to be able to cancel on the natural. And this looks like a kill move out of Tyr P. Very, very unexpected. I was trying to sell the fact that, you know, Tyr would probably have a good chance versus Micro Machine compared to everyone else. But that was just mostly for dramatic effect, because really, in reality, almost no one ever has a chance versus Micro Machine. But wow, what a shutdown of this early attack. We do have a Cyclone here that's looks like it wants to get repaired, but it can't. Looks like resources are being prioritized in other places. Again, these Vikings, just Phoenix is right on top of them. No kiting, nothing like that. Just you know, use that moving shot and get superior speed and just stick to that Viking until it's dead. Another Cyclone game picked up. That beautiful Cyclone micro that we see out of Micro Machine becoming null and void thanks to the, let's get the proper name. Graviton beam of the Phoenix. Even picking up the Marauders, which are really nice units versus Stalkers. Wow, so good out of the Phoenix. I've seen Phoenix used versus myself when I played Tyr, and it seemed a little bit awkward. I wasn't sure why it's there, but I wonder if it's just like what he does versus Terran just because of this sort of Cyclone-centric builds we see so often out of Terran. Cyclones are just one of those units that's way more powerful in the bot meta than it is in the human meta, just because of its ability. Like any kiting effect is very strong with bots, and that may be the best kiting unit in the game, or at least one of the best. Yeah, and you know, the champion of the little guys coming through. Nice victory. So like I said, I do have a system to choose the replays. I didn't even look at who won this match. So this wasn't like cherry picking a Micro Machine loss like we do in the community streams. We have a community stream every week on twitch.tv/AI Arena stream. It's every Tuesday, more or less, although it's between seasons we haven't been doing it. But once we get back on the ladder, we'll be doing it again. Anyways, it's like tradition to show a Micro Machine loss every community stream, since it's such a rare thing. We're like, well, you definitely lost at least once during this week, so let's find that match and show it off. So it wasn't anything like that. I wasn't hunting for a game where Tyr beat Micro Machine. I just happened to have found it. Now, I was picking games from Season 2. That's how I decided to do this tournament. And I'm guessing since the end of Season 2, Micro Machine has probably fixed it up so he beats Tyr. When we do find a gap in Micro Machine, you know, part of the reason why Micro Machine is so strong is because the bot authors are so active for that bot. So when we find a weakness, it gets sealed up quite quickly, and this might be another weakness that no longer exists. But in this replay, it does exist, and this is congratulations. Our tournament winner better than your tournament winner. Tier P taking down the victory over Micro Machine. Very nice, very nice. Hope you guys actually made it this deep in the video to spot it, as we are now an hour in. A little more exciting than watching two bots stall out for an hour, but very cool. So yeah, that is the entire bot scene from season 2 of AI Arena. So season 3 is in, well, I guess it's not called season 3 right now. There was 2 ladders that existed and 2 kind of systems. There was AIArena.net and then there's SC2AI.net, which had its own. And they've combined forces. They decided to merge. So from this point forward, there will only be SC2AI, and then I guess that causes the new naming convention. So SA2AI Arena preseason. And that will be going until February 13th, and then the official ladder season will start. And the nice thing is I'm somewhat optimistic that we'll be using the newest StarCraft 2 patch, thanks to Scarlet, which will be pretty awesome if it's there. Now I don't need drilling claws for Widow Mines to stay burrowed correctly, and there'll be a cooldown on Battlecruiser teleport. Infested Terrans will be out, and whatever that cloud is will be in Microbial Shroud. Yeah, so we're on like a November 2019 patch, I think is the one we're on. Which I'm not sure how long that went for until the next patch came out, so probably we're about a year behind. And where you might have watched these tournaments and not even noticed, and I think like it's really close to what the current patch is. There's enough little things that it makes a difference, and 2 or 3 years down the road, assuming Blizzard is still doing balance patches at that time, it could look like a different game. So I'm really happy that a solution was found to update our API, since we know that Blizzard's certainly not doing it anymore now that Alpha Star is out and Blizzard has more or less gotten dismantled and outsourced, at least for their legacy games. But yeah, I mean, the bot scene is growing, even though StarCraft 2 is probably not growing. So pretty cool. Where were we? What was I clicking on? Just yeah, so let's go back to that season 2 ladder. If you're looking for more content, I would suggest youtube.com/ESChamp, ESCHAMP. There's also StarCraft 2 AI on YouTube. Both those have run multiple tournaments in the past, so you can check out like old tournaments from a long time ago, see what like bots were like a couple of years ago. Or you can see like the last season's bots and see all these big names going up against each other. Obviously, I didn't get to showcase the top 8, but I think it's a good thing because they get showcased in all these tournaments. If you watch any of these scenes, you'll always know who Gen Z Bot is. You'll always know who Spiny is. But no one really knows who like Nick Bot Learns is or Terran 002, So we finally got to get a look at these other guys. As for the future of my channel, I'm going to go back to just doing, I guess, like sparse gameplay videos of my own Mass Raven stuff. And I think I'm going to mix in sparse amounts of bot games. Whenever I find a bot game that kind of like stands out to me as being like a cool game, I'll be showing it here. So I think the quality of bot games is going to get much higher. This was obviously a tournament with many lower level bots, and the replays were chosen randomly. So you never knew what we were going to get. We had some crashes show up. We had some draws. But yeah. And obviously, it's my channel. I want to show off my bot a little bit. So I'll probably be casting a much higher percentage of bot games from my own bot than from other bots. But yeah. this won't become like a bot casting channel for sure. But yeah, if a cool game I see that I want to show off, I'll show it off. If I add a cool feature to my own bot I want to show off, I'll show it off. Yeah, so that's my plans. Let me know what you guys think though. Like if you want to see more bot content, if you're happy this is over so we can get back to my regular StarCraft stuff. Let me know in there. And yeah, big tournament coming up. Starting, I want to say February 14th. Let me look it up quickly. The first season of 2021 of ProBots. It's going to be a double elimination top 16 bots. So top 4 from last season qualified. I made top 4, so I'm in there. And then the top 12 from the AI Arena ladder in season 2. So top 12 from here will be in there as well. And it's going to make for a great tournament with some really strong bots. See, the dates are here somewhere, I think. No. Yes, ProBots. 2021 Season 1, February 11th. Yeah, so February 11th they'll be starting. So I think the first match from that is actually already a scheduled premiere. These get live streamed on YouTube and then become VODs on YouTube. So I'll put a link to that in the description. So if you check out the description, the first link will be the link to that first game. So it's something you can like click the reminder button on so you can watch it live when it goes live. The next, I'll put a link to the ES Champ channel. That's where you can see past tournaments of ProBots, and then the StarCraft 2 AI channel. Obviously, the StarCraft 2 AI channel, there's not going to be any new content as they merge with AI Arena. At least, well, maybe there will be. Yeah, don't call me on that. There might still be AI Arena content may be going on that channel. But yeah, those are 3 good places to find more bot games if you're interested. Another one is Laughing Games. You might know him as a caster on YouTube who casts StarCraft 2 matches. He casted every single Alpha Star game that was released. And they released a ton of Alpha Star games, like 500 of them or something. He casted every single one of them. Since then, he's been sporadically casting some of our bot games. So there's been a couple with Ketrock bot you can check out, and then there's been some other fun ones in there. So those are the sources for bot stuff. And that's all I got to say. So congratulations to Tier P, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.